How you doing? Wonderful, beautiful afternoon. It just finished raining. It is Tuesday. You're saying, why isn't the video up on Monday? Well, I'll tell you why. The English department mandated that I do a video on the Scarlet Letter. So me and Arnold Schwarzenegger, we're doing this together. It's a team effort. Arnold Schwarzenegger is just going to stand here and look awesome. I'm going to do the talking. So, let's talk about the Scarlet Letter with my devil candle here. Chapter 8 through 12 we're going to be talking about, and then we'll do some character analysis and beautiful rhetorical devices. Chapter 8, what happened in Chapter 8? Well, Pearl and Hester go to the governor's house. They're there looking at the gardens, taking in the scenery. The governor shows up with a Reverend Wilson, our good friend Reverend Dimsdale, who was at the beginning of the book, and Roger Chillingsworth, good old Roger. And they all decide, should Hester keep Pearl or not? And in the end they decide, Dimsdale speaks up and says, no, Pearl should stay with Hester. She could teach Pearl could teach Hester right from wrong. Beautiful. Now, all of a sudden, Reverend Dimsdale gets really sick, so they decide, what if Roger and Reverend Arthur Dimsdale were to live together so they could, so we could help him, so we could keep a close eye on him? It's like shipping. 20th century, not like 1600, they're already shipping. Yeesh, they're living together, and Roger's really trying to figure out why is he so sick, so he's trying to play with his mind. And then one night while Arthur's sleeping, Roger looks on his chest and he sees something. We are not told what it is on his chest, but there is something on Arthur's chest. Now, chapter 10, you see, because Roger's doing these little vigil things where, not Roger, Arthur. He's doing these vigils where he stays up late at night, he sort of meditates on how he's a sinner, he tells people he's a sinner, but all of his citizens love him even more because, he tells them, I'm a sinner, and then they say, I'm a sinner, but they love him even more, and he gives this amazing sermon in chapter 11, and they love him even more. They say he's the best guy, best sermon ever, and he wants to confess. Or is that chapter 12 he gives the best sermon? I'm not sure. Maybe it's chapter 12. He gives an amazing sermon in there. No, that's chapter 12, I'm sorry, jumping ahead. So anyway, chapter 10, he's staying up late and he decides to go stand on the scaffolding to punish himself. So he stands up there, and Governor Winthrop had just passed away, the elder governor. He passed away. So he's standing there, and he's waiting for people to come by, and Pearl and Hester show up because they were saying goodbye to the governor before he died. Pearl and Hester, they stand on the scaffold with him, they're talking. You see a meteor fly by, and it makes the symbol of an egg in the sky. Crazy, symbolism and stuff, and then Roger Chillingsworth shows up, and he says he's sleepwalking. He takes it back to the house, and he's like, you're up to no good. Now, Chapter 12, as we were saying, he really wants to confess. He gives the best sermon the village has ever heard, and the village loves him even more. So, tough times, and Roger's got this really evil, dark cloud that's over his head. You just don't like him. His name is Chillingsworth. Come on! Now, let's do some character analysis. Pearl. Pearl is very, I kind of like Pearl as a character. She's very perceptive for young. She always questions adults. She's fixated on the Scarlet Letter A. She's always throwing flowers and burrs and stuff and what have you. And very perceptive. She challenges adults. She asks them questions that normal people wouldn't ask them. And they don't want to say no, so they answer them. So she's really good. Pearl is also a symbol. Why? Because she is in some forms a living manifestation of the Scarlet Letter. So it makes sense for Pearl to be, she's a symbol, the way she's dressed, she's very showy, I guess she's very flamboyant, very eloquently designed, and she's a blessing and a consequence. A consequence because what Pearl did wrong, Hester did wrong, and a blessing because if it wasn't for Pearl, Hester would go join the devil, as seen at the end of chapter 8, where that little witch woman says, hey, why don't we go smoke weed in the woods and we'll go meet with the devil? And Hester's like, nah, I gotta take care of my kid, you go on without me. See? Pearl is a blessing and a consequence. If it wasn't for Pearl, Hester would turn to sin. Now, let's talk about some rhetorical devices. There are two being used. One on, I believe, page 98, I want to say. The prothesis. I'll read it to you. And yet, adown the vista of the garden avenue, a number of persons were seen approaching the house. The way in which you word things, the prothesis, it's very cool, it's very structured. Now let's talk about some parallelism. Another great one he uses on page 111, I believe, if you have the Scarlet Letter. That vicinity. It could be well content that my labors, and my sorrows, and my sins, my pains, should all end with me. Our good friend Reverend Dimsdale he's a total emotional train wreck. It's like my friend when he cries about his love life. God help the poor man. He's so racked. He confessed, but he should just accept the fact that the people love him. They love him. Just forgive, forget. Just don't want to carry the grudge. It's hurting him. It's It's bearing him down. He's carrying this on him, and it's really killing him. All right, because if you spend your time fixating on something so bad, you're gonna die. You're gonna die. I'm sorry. All right, so I would like to thank you all very much for tuning in. English department, you have fun watching this, and English class, etc., etc. YouTube community, Scarlet Letter, boom, fun stuff. Friday, or Saturday actually, Saturday, I have a special being uploaded. Let's just say it involves something about England and killing French people, so you can go check that out. Have a wonderful evening.